What's going on, guys? This is Zaccari, and over the past week we've gotten a bit of a news dump on Nintendo's upcoming paid online service, something I thought we were actually going to have to wait till E3 to learn more about. So today I want to run down the information we've learned and give my thoughts about it. So let's start with the big question, my favorite question. How much does this thing actually cost? Because we can't really discern what sort of value we're getting here without looking at the price. $20 per year over here in the good old US of A, which is about a third of what's being charged currently by Microsoft and Sony for their services, and $20 more than it costs you to play games on PC, but who's counting? So it's nice that it's lower, but what are you getting for this $20 per year? Well, for one, you get to play your games online, as with many other platforms, which is why I think Nintendo seems to be going pretty hard with releasing multiplayer games early in the console's life. I mean, think about it, in terms of major releases, we got Breath of the Wild at launch, then Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, now ARMS is around the corner, which will be followed by Splatoon 2. Out of those 4 games, 3 are heavily multiplayer focused. Now, the service doesn't launch until the fall, I believe, so you get to play these games for free until then, but it seems like kind of a sneaky move by Nintendo, doesn't it? Like, you don't really have many options outside of multiplayer games. And I know these games can be played single player, and there's offline multiplayer, but let's not pretend that that's the focus of these games. On top of that, you get what many are dubbing a sort of Nintendo Flix, Netflix type access to classic Nintendo games. Yes, people, Nintendo listened for once and realized that the whole one free game a month that you lose at the end of the month was totally dumb, and have instead gone this route where you will have access to a library of classics, many of which will have added features such as online multiplayer. And this is why you complain, people. I see too often people on the internet, when somebody has an issue with something, someone comes back at, oh, well, this is the way it is. No, we're supposed to just take our medicine as Nintendo gives it to us. No, if people were silent, we'd still have that crappy system of, oh, you get one free game a month and then we're going to take it away and give you a new free game next month. Now instead, you're getting this Netflix type deal, which, even though we don't know too much about it, sounds way, way better. Now, while it does sound so much better at face value, I still have a bunch of concerns. Mainly, what is actually going to be available here? What does Nintendo consider classics? Like, to me, everything before the Switch should have the potential to find its way on here. But it seems more like the focus is going to be on NES and SNES. I hope we at least see N64 on here. And beyond that, how many games are we going to see on this thing from the start, and how fast will new titles be added? If you're anything like me, the Virtual Console on Nintendo platforms has consistently been a letdown with how few games end up making it to each system. So if Nintendo wants this to be a major selling point for their paid service, I don't want to see this thing launching with like 5 games on it, with 1 being added every month or something. I'm sorry, but anyone with 2 brain cells to rub together knows how easily people do ROM dumps on their own various hardware. So I know Nintendo, a major company, is capable of doing more, especially with all the titles they have the rights to. Speaking of which, will we see more third-party games? I expect the usual suspects like Castlevania and Mega Man to make their way over, but I hope to see more. I know it's a long shot, it's something I've been pushing for a while, but God, something like Turtles in Time for the Super Nintendo with 4-player online support, I'd sign up for this thing just for that. And furthermore, what does this mean for the Virtual Console? Is the buying of games something they're trying to phase out? I know the gaming world just can't shut up about games as a service. A nightmare to people like me who prefer physical games, or more so, actually owning our games. And if we're going to have both, how will that work? See, I get worried about things going like this, like, oh, Mario 64 releases on the Switch Virtual Console today for $10 or whatever, and then 6 months later, it's made part of this subscription service. I want the lines to be clear in terms of what goes where from the start, and I don't want titles being held hostage to get people to sort of double dip. Now maybe we'll learn more about all these things at E3, but yeah, I have a lot of concerns here, though I will say this is a giant leap in the right direction as opposed to where it seemed like they were going. That's not the end, folks. Oh no. Do not think I'm letting this slip through the cracks. This Frankenstein contraption that looks like something we would have strewn together to link our systems in like 2003. But no, this is a 2017 setup, people. How you will, I guess, do voice chat and game audio on the Switch. And before I even get into that, this hoary setup is Splatoon themed, so voice chat will be in Splatoon 2, right? Funny how they've changed their tune in just about 2 years. Oh, yeah, I didn't forget. When Nintendo said the reason they didn't do chat in the first game was because of toxic players. Ooh, remember that garbage? Like, first, there's the option to mute chat. Takes all of 3 seconds in any game I've played, or make it age restricted if you're worried about kids. Even though I guess no one at Nintendo has ever played Call of Duty, because then they'd know that it's actually the squeaky children who do most of the obnoxious swearing. And what about chatting with my friends? Are they toxic, Nintendo? Do I need new friends? I had to mention this because I got a lot of flack when I first called Nintendo out on this lame excuse, with people actually defending it as valid. I mean, I guess fanboys, yeah, will literally defend anything for their almighty console lords. But if you wanted more proof that it was just a line, here you go. 2 years later, now you can voice chat. The entire Nintendo community has grown up and matured in those 2 years, I guess. Or if that's not the case, if everyone didn't just mature over these last 2 years, I hope to see the people that defended the decision back then will now go against the decision to include voice chat in the game now. But besides that, this setup is so overly clunky looking, it can't be ignored. I mean, look at the wires you're going to be covered in. Going from the system to this squid thing, and then to the headset, and to your phone. I mean, am I just setting up voice chat, or am I setting up a PlayStation VR? In 2017, I expect to see less cables than I needed for my original Xbox. Or if we're talking handhelds, how about my DS? Yeah, maybe some of you have forgotten that even the DS could do voice chat. And imagine when the console is docked and you have a wire going from the system to you on your couch or chair. I mean, I feel for you parents out there with kids running around the house. I could easily see one of them tripping over this cable and pulling the whole system off your entertainment center. After Nintendo corrected the course on the whole one free game a month thing, I hope we eventually see something here, even something as simple as a Bluetooth earpiece that can connect and do chat with just the console. And speaking of which, how much battery is this going to drain? And that just popped into my head. I mean, am I going to need another wire plugging my phone into an outlet if I want to play for more than, say, 2 hours? I'm going to be like the frickin' lawnmower man if I want to play Splatoon and do voice chat. So yeah, these are my thoughts and concerns about this recent rundown of info we received on the Nintendo Online service. I do think it's off to a decent start. I know people feel like I'm often overly negative, but really, I'm just skeptical. And I want you, the consumer, to get the best deal. But I'm going to end it there. Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments. The chat setup, the price, the whole Nintendo Netflix type deal. What do you hope we see from that? As always, I'm Zaccari, and thanks for watching.